Hi everyone and welcome back. So this is my second video. It's been about 2 weeks since I posted my first video, and I haven't really posted anything since then because nothing interesting has really happened. I am currently in the middle of trying to get like all the approvals to film at my internship because there are a lot of people and a lot of things going on, and I can't just like really walk into a building and start filming and be like, hey, okay, I'm an intern, because again, I'm an intern. So and I just realized that I'm wearing my socks inside out and it's really bothering me. Like, that's so weird. Anyways, as I changed my sock, I really today just wanted to talk about like the reflections that I've done now that I've been here about a month. I have about a month and a half left here in DC before I move back to Miami, which is exciting, sad, whatever, but I'm only like through that halfway point, so it is what it is. But I just think it's important to talk about the things that I have noticed, because maybe you not being here or experiencing yourself, you don't really see what I see. And also just some quick tips to applying for internships, because I know people are going to start applying for summer internships if they haven't already, which I think is extremely like important to do. You don't want to have like a last minute job, at least like plan your summer out and stuff, which is something that I like to do. I'm a planner. So yeah. So the biggest thing that I have noticed being here is that this whole going out culture is not like super important here, so this whole in Miami, it's like Thursday ladies night, Friday night we go somewhere, Saturday where are we going, Sunday brunch then racket, like this whole routine that we have going of every weekend we know exactly what we're gonna do, and we know what's gonna happen. Like, I don't think that's really like a big thing here, and I don't know if maybe it's because I hang out with people who are older than me, but I think it's a lot healthier. Something that I've also noticed is that people don't really care what you look like over here. I feel like when I was in Miami, I always had this certain pressure to look perfect. Like, okay, girls, look presentable, like you never know who you're around. And here I feel like I can thoroughly be myself. I spent, and it's probably gonna get a little deep here, I don't really care, but I spent my first half of my childhood rejecting being Indian because I got teased a lot for it. I spent the second half of my childhood rejecting like the whole Spanish culture, Latin culture that there was in Miami, because I was teased by those people when I was younger. And then when I joined college, I kind of found this middle ground where like I could appreciate both, but I still never felt like I could fully be like, I could accept and celebrate my culture the way that I would like to, which I think is important. Sometimes I feel like the token Indian girl, which isn't always the best feeling to have, versus here, like there's so much diversity and there's so many different people around that me being Indian is like, people would roll their eyes at that if I use that as a fun fact here, like they see past that, they don't care about that. And it's like allowed me to fully acknowledge like my culture and like the things that I do enjoy and what I love, because there's nobody here judging me about it, and if I choose to stay home on a Saturday night or a Friday night versus going out, like there's nobody here to tell me you're lame, like you're whack, and I think that's really important, because my biggest like thing has been when I go to Miami, I'm gonna go right back into that, and it's gonna be all that pressure again. And like I'm finally gonna, like, I've always said no, I've always like been that type of homebody, but now like I'm not gonna really feel bad about it. And what's funny, like people love to make fun of like students that study abroad and they come back and they're like, oh, I learned so much. And I used to be one of those people that like, oh my god, study abroad changed my life. Like if you told me that, I'd laugh in your face, because I study abroad and it didn't change my life, but I think a semester abroad definitely changed my perspective. I wouldn't say my life, but it changed my perspective to make my life a little happier. And so for my little LinkedIn tips and tricks and resume tips and tricks, off to the fun stuff. So I literally came to DC because I saw an episode of Parks and Recreation, season 7, episode 8, where April and Leslie come to DC and they're like having this talk, and Leslie's like, I want to have a bench. I'm gonna have a bench here, and anytime I want to reflect and like I just want to think about my journey. I'm going to come to this specific bench. And when I saw that episode, I had decided I wanted to have a bench. So I was like, okay, DC is the perfect place to have a bench. It's going to be the exact same spot where Leslie Knope had hers. I don't even know what spot it is because I have literally been to all those benches and I'm like, it is what it, like, I don't know, you know? There I go again with the you know, but whatever, it is what it is. But that next morning, after I had decided that I was gonna move and I was gonna apply to all of this, I literally sat down. I went on Indeed.com and LinkedIn, and I typed in communications internship Washington DC, and all these nonprofit organizations came up and all these like governmental offices came up, and I researched every single one because I didn't want to intern for a place where our values didn't align, because that's a big thing for me, like morals and ethics. Like, I'm not gonna work for a company that supports ideas that I don't, especially in DC. Everything's very like political, obviously. God, I'm an idiot sometimes, but you know, oh my God, I think we just need to start having like a count for every time I say you know, just like tally. So I did that, and then I made sure I had like completely like gone through my resume. It was perfected. I had gone through like 4 different people to make sure that my resume had been reviewed. I wrote a cover letter, and then for the jobs that I applied for, I tweaked it based on where I was applying, because like you always want to personalize it. And I do always recommend writing a cover letter, because that's what's gonna set you apart, and it's your way of personally bragging about what's on your resume. So always write a cover letter. But yeah, I think you have to look for something where you know you're going to be comfortable. If it's something that you don't know but it interests you, it doesn't hurt to apply. I'm looking into event planning internships now because I have realized I love event planning, and it's like somewhat in my major, but I'm not a hospitality major. But I still think like that's a business or an industry where I could thrive. So now I'm looking into event management and event planning. So always, like, if you think that you could do it but you're not sure, like, still take that step and just apply, because you never know how that interview will turn out. And I'm not gonna lie, most of the time you probably won't even get called back for any internship, whether you're qualified or not, because I applied for maybe 15 internships in DC and I only got called back for 2. And I think that's a really important thing to know, that you're gonna beat yourself up and you're gonna be looking at your email all the time, waiting and waiting, and it might not come, but you can't don't psych yourself out, because rejection is normal. It took me a long time to like normalize the idea of being rejected by a company. I was used to being this overachiever in like all throughout life, elementary, middle, high school, college. And when I started like not getting these jobs and stuff that I was so used to getting any position that I had applied for, it like took a big toll on me, and I just thought like, oh my God, like I suck, and I was starting to compare myself to other people. But I realized that there's a lot of people out there that are just like me. I might not know who they are, I might not know them, but we want the same things, and that's not a bad thing. Like, it doesn't hurt to have like other high achieving people out there, driven people, ambitious people. You just have to learn how to separate yourself from everybody else, and how are you going to stand out to employers. So I think that's a big thing that you need to consider, and something that you need to take into account, is that you're not going to get every job you apply for. Some of us are lucky that we do get every job that we apply for. I am not one of those people, but it happens. So I think those are 2 major things to think about when you're applying for these internships. One tip that I do have is, so there's an Instagram account called the Intern Queen, or just Intern Queen, I'm not sure. I will like right here put a screenshot of it. But she has videos. Her name's Lauren, and she gives like tips on interviews, resumes, like what and what not to do. And I think they have helped me out a lot when it comes to the whole application process. They also post a lot of opportunities to do internships or to do brand ambassadorship programs. So I would like really suggest following that account. I think I had seen like somebody that I follow post about it, and that's how I found out, because I did not just find that account like out of nowhere. But I definitely do recommend. Oh my God, I completely forgot to tell you guys. Okay, so like 2 interesting things did happen to me. So like in these past 2 weeks. So I went to a piercing place because I have a nose piercing, and I just wanted to get a new one, right? So my goal was to get a hoop. And I went in, and the guy was like, you have to wait 6 months so you can get a hoop. So he helped me pick out another stud, and I got another stud, and like it was just this whole process. I think we were there for like 40 minutes, and like I felt like I was in surgery. It was so crazy because anytime I've gotten like a new like nose stud, I just put it in myself. Like nobody's like, oh, let me do it for you, because who wants to have a nose up their nose, a finger up their nose, you know? I went for ramen. I had a 2-hour wait. And I waited the 2 hours. It was not worth the 2-hour wait, I will tell you that much. It's worth like a 10-minute wait, but even then, wow, I couldn't believe that I waited 2 hours. So thank you for watching. Thank you for getting to the end of this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. You guys were really good about commenting, and it made me really happy. So yeah, keep doing that, and I will see you next time. And I still haven't thought of like a tagline for like how I'm gonna end these videos with. Like when I interned for FIU and I did the vlogs, I would always start with, hey guys, which I think I start this one too with. It's just like a force of habit, but I just don't want anything cringy. And I think that's how I'm gonna end this one. So peace out.